So after you finished speaking with Detective Cosgrove, and once the peer support people started talking to him, what did you do then?
Basically, at that point, I walked back over to where Vince had parked his car and kind of chilled by the car and waited just to be assistance with scene security. We held the far side of the lot. I think it's like I want to say the north side of the lot where they put up tape. We kind of just hung out there. I never went into the scene or anything like that. I just helped out with scene security until they were able to relieve us early in the morning. So,
what time do you think you left? Did you leave the Springfield Drive area?
It was late. I'm not sure exactly, but it was. I'm going to say like 3 or 4, possibly when we left. I remember it was quite a long time until they were able to get the scene started processing, and PIU was able to get us relieved. So,
did you talk to Detective Hankison that night at all?
I never had any like face-to-face conversations with him. I don't think. I believe that. I mean, I may have tried to call him to check on him and see how he was doing or something, or make sure he was okay, or make sure that peer support was on its way to find him.
Did you actually get a chance to talk to him at all, even on the phone?
I don't remember any specific conversation, but I mean that would have been my only thing that I would have talked to him about if I had talked to him.
You said earlier that you had picked up Sergeant Madeleine's phone?
Yes, sir.
Did you take his phone to him later to the hospital?
No, I believe that when I held on to it and I was trying to find a ride to get down to the hospital when whoever was going, I think that Sergeant Bond ended up taking the phone down and dropping it off to him. I think he went, after everything was secure, I think, down to the hospital to drop it off.
Did you go to the hospital that morning?
No, sir.
Okay.
I was on the scene security the whole time. So.
Okay. So after you left around 4-ish, 3 or 4, did you go home or go back station? Or?
I went home.
Okay. Are you issued a body cam by LMPD?
I am now, but I was not at the time.
Okay. You didn't have one at the time?
No, sir.
Okay. Did any of the other detectives, were they wearing their body cameras? Do you know?
I don't believe so. Vince and Luke and I are all on the same crew, so none of us had them. Not any that I know of that I can remember.
Barbara, have anything?
Where did you first, when you arrived on scene, where did you first see Hankison?
I think the first time that I saw him, he was kind of like up on, there's like a dumpster, maybe kind of hanging out off to the side between like the dumpster and the next apartment building. And he was just kind of alone as well. But at the time, I think that somebody, I'm not sure who, but I'm pretty sure that somebody went over to kind of sit with him too until peer support came.
So you didn't go up and speak with him?
No, ma'am. Other than maybe possibly are you okay or something like that, but there was never any in-depth conversation or sitting with him or anything like that because I was with Miles for the most part of the night.
And you said you had driven Miles' car or gotten it out of the way?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you did that before you started speaking to him?
Yes, ma'am, because he was like, where's my car? Where'd it go? And I was like, hey, well, man, I moved it over here, so it wouldn't be in the way anymore. And basically just from the front of the apartment building up to where they rammed the fence, and I was able to tuck it in there in a parking spot, so it was just out of the way.
And where was he exactly? Sitting or standing?
He would have, like, where his car was, like, so it would be the front side of the apartment building, and then the parking lot, like the first row of spaces, the driving area, and then he was over here in like the next row of parking spaces when I came up to talk to him first. Then I think we walked over by his car too after I told him where it was and that I moved it and stuff. So
Did anyone from PIU, did you speak to anyone from PIU that night?
I talked with, I think Vance was on the scene. I kind of just talked with him for a little bit. I never gave a statement or anything like that to them at the time, though.
Did anyone at a later point reach out and ask you to give a statement or anything?
No, this is the first statement that I've given to anyone.
Did you have any knowledge of Hankison's, where his car was that night?
No, I have no clue.
Okay. Are you familiar with his dog?
With Frankie, yeah.
And so, do you know where the dog was?
No, ma'am. I assumed it was in the car if he was going to run the dog there for the warrants, but like I said, I mean, it's just an assumption. But
That's all I have.
Jim, you have anything?
I'm good. I'm sorry. I was making a note of my notes. I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you, Detective.
Mr. Lewis, you have anything?
Two things. One is you all had asked some questions about Detective Gibson speaking with Mr. Walker, basically for tactical purposes to find out what was in the apartment and so on. He believes that may have all been captured on one of the body cams of the arresting officer, the officers that escorted Walker out. Is that right? So if you have those, or you can get them, whatever Mr. Walker had to say, all or some of it might be on one of those body cams. The other thing is, just like with my other folks that I've represented through this process, we are primarily concerned that any private personal information of Mr. Gibson be exempt from any records disclosure, and that it be treated as we believe to be exempt from any open records. I don't know if you have anything like that, or have his phone records, or for some reason have his private address, but my primary purpose here is in addressing that. Detective Gibson doesn't have any reason to think he otherwise needs counsel in this matter.
Duly noted.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all, and this ends our interview with Detective Gibson at 15:25. Thank you, sir.